where was I on 9/11? It's been a long time, hasn't it? It's so weird to think about. What, 6 years? I've gone from being a child, basically, to, for all intents and purposes, an adult. I mean, 5 months till I'm 21. Could do all the things that adults could do in America, but, excuse me, just finishing up my lunch. But, yeah, a lot has changed for me, definitely. And in some ways, I look at 9/11 and certainly the time around it as the beginning of a lot of changes in my life, of the biggest changes that I kind of went through. So I'll tell you guys a little bit of that story. I was in, ninth grade at the time, but my first time of the two I did ninth grade. I was still homeschooled. Went into public school the very next year. So I had a slightly different perspective, as did my siblings, than a lot of the other people my age, because they were all watching this footage in school, and I can imagine that would have been strange, to not even have the comfort of home when watching something that, you kind of got this sense was changing everything. I was at home, and we hadn't really started doing our lessons for the day or anything. Actually, I think I had slept in that day. I don't think I'd been feeling well or something like that. So my mom was leaving for work, and the second plane had not hit yet. And she sent one of my sisters up to wake me up. She's like, okay, you guys need to watch this. Something's going on. I gotta go to work. But of course, she knew she'd probably be watching all day at work. But, we kind of didn't really know what was going on yet, because the second plane hadn't hit yet. So my sister got me up, and I kind of stumbled downstairs, and I'm looking at this, and being as tired and as young as I was, it hadn't really sunk in, like, the magnitude of the whole thing yet. And then we saw the second plane hit, and that woke me up. Hit the second tower, and we started hearing, bits and pieces of everything else going on. It's hard to put it all together in chronological order. The Pentagon being hit, things like that. And then the towers fell. And it was scary watching it all. But of course, like most people, you're probably in a little bit of shock at that point. But also, things hadn't had time to sink in, but also, I guess, they hadn't had time to permeate, like, every area of your life. And unfortunately, fear, was a big part of everybody's life at that point. Directly after, just, the after effects of this horrific thing having happened to our country, and suddenly realizing that, things weren't as safe as we all assumed they were, and that we had enemies out there. And also, then eventually coming from all kinds of different political angles, everything from, if we don't go to war, we're going to get, attacked more. There's fear there. If we do go to war, or we have gone to war, everybody's going to hate us. Just fear for a while, for a couple of years, and still, to some degree, permeated everything from every angle, But I think it was actually a bigger deal than for some in my family, and especially for me, because I was a very scared little child. And my stepdad, and I think this marked a little bit of the beginning of the end, actually, of his relationship with my mom. For those of you who have been subscribed to me for a while, you kind of know a little bit about the relationship I have with my biological father, but I haven't talked a lot about my former stepdad. Carl is mentally unstable. He shows some of the signs of paranoid schizophrenia, actually. It's hard to say because he'll never go and get help, so we'll never know. But ever since I was a little baby, he was into every scare story that existed. I mean, the biggest one I can remember before 9/11 was definitely Y2K. And, I'm not sure what it was about him, but every conspiracy theory and every doomsday theory and every this is going to go wrong, he was always pulled in. And, we didn't recognize at the beginning the signs of a mental illness that just caused him to need these things or something. But so of course this happened, and it was the biggest thing that had ever happened. I mean, before, he was into the whole Y2K scare, and I remember he found out about it 2 years before the year 2000, and him and my mom came back for some meeting about it. My mom always tried to temper things, and she didn't always know how to deal with it, because my stepdad had come along in a very difficult situation in her life when she was younger, and so she continued to cling to him even as he continued to spiral down. So she was always there to kind of, okay, it's not that bad, okay, stop obsessing, that kind of thing. She was a very calming influence on him, but she just couldn't get away from it for the longest time. And when Y2K came around, they came back from this meeting and told us all about it, and I immediately thought the worst of them. And I said, well, Dad, does that mean in 2 years we're all gonna die? He looked at me and said, yeah, probably. And it just didn't faze him. There was definitely something wrong. So anyway, that's not what we're talking about. The whole 9/11 thing, obviously, okay, gas prices are going to skyrocket, which, they did slowly, but, I mean, he was one of the people who had to go, get gas that night because it was going to be $5 a gallon the next day, and, we were going to be attacked by a nuclear missile, and just everything, it was all sensationalized and even worse than it was. And for a while, we didn't even really have time to process, because it was just going to get worse. We couldn't just deal with this one thing. Everything was going to get worse. And I think that's part of what marked the end of his relationship with my mom. I think they got divorced the next year, or even sooner than that, something like 6 months later. And, gradually I got over 9/11 like everybody did, or not got over that, but moved on, and it's something I remember, but it isn't as grieving as it used to be. I'm not scared of everything anymore. It did teach me a valuable lesson, that bad things can happen, and things can, bad things can continue to happen, but, fear does nothing to stop it, and living in fear won't benefit you. You live to be safe, you take care of your own, and you just let life happen. For me, it's, you let God take care of things, and, so I learned a valuable lesson even through that tragedy, and my family definitely did. Unfortunately, Carl's still wrapped up in things. He's actually involved in a doomsday cult now. They've had something like 3 different dates where it was, nuclear war was supposed to hit, and hasn't yet, but I think the newest one is coming in October, and I can look at that and be very grateful I'm not in that situation anymore, where I'm still scared, and expecting to die in the next 6 months, and, well, a month now, but it's just been back and forth. Anyway, that is my 9/11 story. I'm responding to Give Me a Break Man's video with his question about it, and was interested in his story, and I thought it'd be something to share to commemorate the 6th year anniversary. Definitely something that the whole world learned from, not just Americans. A hard thing, but thankfully we've moved on. Thank you guys for watching. See ya.